Hello, hello, hello. Is anyone there? It looks like you're there. But tell me that you are. Because I'm super paranoid about this being a shambles, right? Like there being no sound, there being no nothing. Please tell me you're there. Hey, it looks like it. It looks like. Who have we got? Come and say hello. Tell me where you're coming in from. Is that like hackneyed? Is that like is that overdone? Hey Shane. Hey Steve. Hello, Erin. How you going? Hey Treb, who else we got? Mr. Debacle. Mr. Debacle. Zenther. Okay. Yeah, you're there. And you can hear me. That's excellent. I seem to be only coming in one audio channel. I don't know if I'm being trolled or not. As someone who, you know, I don't really regret much. I mean, obviously I do. I've done, many questionable things. But like putting the first 3 episodes out in mono, man, that was a nightmare. What a disaster. Because I'd say that like 30% of my YouTube comments are, is anyone else only hearing this in one ear? So yeah, that's that's what I have to deal with. Yeah. So yeah, you're all coming through nicely. This is weird. I've got to keep talking. Like, when I normally make an episode, I can just like cut all the waffle and the nonsense out. But you're all here to be entertained. Yeah. So we're gonna do some sector creation today, and a little bit of preamble from me. Hey Andrew. Andrew Savin in the chat, everybody. He's the person responsible for naming the lens in the show. So good for him. Got himself kind of firmly ensconced in bad spot lore. And that's forever. You know what I mean? So yeah, okay, so left ears only. I don't like the right ear anyway, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, a little bit of preamble before we get into doing our kind of sector creation, and I guess it will give a chance for a few more people to kind of come in. But like the one thing I should say is that like there might be some spoilers, right? Maybe if you're not completely up to date, but I will keep narrative specifics out of it. Right, we're just in a new sector, and that's all you need to know. Hey, Joshua Meehan, artist of Starforged. Everyone say hello to Joshua. Insanely talented man. Thank you for checking in. My wife is upstairs. I thought she'd start trolling me, but she's watching Toy Story. That's fine. Hey Lee. Hey Carlos. How you doing? All the hits. All the lovely folk are coming in. And there was me worrying that I'd go live and there'd just be like no one. So I'm glad there's some people here. That's awesome. Thank you very much for tuning in. So like I was saying, there are going to be a few spoilers, I guess. And Kent, Lee from Kent in the UK. Nice. Yeah, there are going to be a few spoilers, but yeah, just to know that we are in a new sector. And what I wanted to start with was to talk about how we actually do know a few things from about this sector already, and I'm not sure. Hey Amanda, hey John. I'm not sure if anyone remembers. I mean, I barely remember, so I don't know if I expect you guys to remember. I had someone post a YouTube comment today going back to like the very very first episode. They'd already gone through the entire kind of campaign once and have now just gone back to the beginning. And I should probably have them put on some kind of government watch list, because that is messed up. Like, don't do that. But they pointed out the fact that in my session 0, I said that I didn't want like an animal companion, and now I've ended up with a spaceship full of dinosaurs. So yeah, whatever I say in the past may well not have any bearing on the present. So I've actually gone through back to episode 34, I believe it was. Like, oh, that was you, was it? Okay. Yeah, that was you. Yeah, it was a good one. Fair. I was joking about the government watch list. Um, yeah, so I went back and had a little listen to see what I could ascertain that I'd said, because it's always worth me checking what I'd said to make sure that I wasn't writing checks that I couldn't cash further down the road. And I came up with a few details that I will show you now. So the sector that we're moving into actually has a name. It's called the Delphian Flux, right? And we have one of the oracles to thank for that. I didn't come up with it. And we know the following bits of information about said Delphian Flux. We know that it's the sector where Cole and his peacekeepers were pulled through the Iron Gate, because that's the sector where they've been stationed. Who's that? It's Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How you doing? We also know that Cole was there because there was a planet that Cole and the peacekeepers were guarding or protecting. And I think there was some MacGuffin they were protecting. There was Clanthorn were fighting there for some kind of resource that we weren't. I'm most sketchy with the details, as per. And Cole's peacekeepers were there, kind of guarding it, and they were leading a kind of like evacuation of that planet, I believe. And that's where Blake Sutton saw him, and that's where we found out there was this weird time kind of dilation business going down, where for Cole and his crew it had been a few years, and for Blake Sutton it had been decades, so that was messed up. So that's where they met. So there's that planet, and then last of all there was some kind of base that the peacekeepers were returning to go for, because they, if you remember, they answered a distress call, went to kind of investigate what it was, and ended up being pulled through this mysterious Iron Gate, because ain't that always the way these things happen? Those pesky gates always messing things up. And there's one other piece of information we know, which is going to give all of us the best possible prompt to kind of go off in terms of like our get those creative juices going. And that is, Blake had a line where she said, should you make it across the spine of Kronos, the bit of space we've just crossed, spoiler alert, you will find little respite in the Delphian Flux. The clans have long since lost control of that sector. So we have established it is a bad place, right? It's like there's some bad stuff going on there. And the good thing is that Cole won't know any of this because he left 3 years ago, but in reality decades have passed. So we've got quite a lot of leeway in what we can put here. And before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of actually creating the sector, I can start asking you guys for prompts and roles and inspiration, if that's not too much to ask. I'm going to kind of narratively frame this in the Bad Spot universe. We have people called astrolabes, right? And yes, this is going to be an outland sector, everyone. Hey, Oval Dream. We have astrolabes in our universe, and the way they operate is they kind of sell or trade navigational data. And when a ship docks, they'll take its navigational computer and they will plug it into the astrolabe's computer, and they will trade, a route for a route or a passage for a passage or whatever. And traditionally, when you start a sector, you would normally just put a few settlements in and leave a lot of blank space. Now, I'm going to kind of fly in the face of that just because, I have rogue form. And I think that we're in a position now where we can kind of launch into more of a dramatic kind of like midpoint in this story. We're not discovering this sector completely anew. There's going to be some things we know about it, and it's going to be more than what we normally do. So narratively, I'm going to frame this as Archer making his way through. We are currently in a deep space station called Purgatory. That's where we're at, and it is not the most salubrious of settings. It is pretty battered. It is in bad shape, and is kind of a perfect place for kind of Archer and the like to kind of to find themselves. It seems appropriate tonally, and I think Archer's going to go exploring this kind of like settlement of Purgatory, and I think he finds an astrolabe, and as he approaches, the astrolabe kind of like warily kind of looks up at them. It's kind of like an old kind of woman who's kind of like probably been there for decades herself. She's kind of got like kind of greyish, kind of pallid skin and kind of like gaunt features, kind of deep set wrinkles, and kind of she's seen some shit, right? But like one thing she doesn't get to see on a regular basis are travelers with navigational data that is worth anything, right? This is in the arse end of absolute nowhere. This is probably about as remote as you can find in the Outlands. But Archer actually has something on his drive which might be of value, because they have just crossed the spine of Kronos, which is a legendary stretch of wild space that allegedly no one's ever survived getting through. So imagine the astrolabe's surprise when Archer plugs in the navigational data and she sees this come up on her screen. And I think in return, she gives him everything she has on her console that is to do with the Delphian flux. So I think we are now going to build that detail that she has given Archer. We are now going to kind of look at this, and like, you know, this is an astrolabe in the middle of nowhere. It's not going to be exactly correct. It's going to have some blank spaces on it, but we are also going to have more detail than just the 3 settlements, planets, and a few other details that you'd normally roll when you come up with a new sector or a starting sector. So what we're going to do is, which way do I want to do this first? Do you want to roll up some details, or do we want to map it first? What do we want to do? I think, hey Sean, I think we're going to map it first. Yeah. So yeah, that's an accurate representation of what the astrolabe's face would have been like. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to map this first. So I'm going to do that using a handy little thing that some of you might have seen called Stargazer. Can you all see that? Tell me you can all see that. I'm very paranoid. I am technically so incompetent. Like, please tell me you can see Stargazer. Yep, that'll do. Okay, that is enough. So you can see down in the bottom left we have Purgatory. So that is the station where we are now, and we have an awful lot of blank space to fill. Yes, Tamira, yes. I love mapping out sectors too. It's just taken me an awful long time to actually get around to doing one. So yeah, okay, cool. So we are here. You can see my little cursor. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to put in, firstly we'll put in the stuff that we know is here, right? So we're going to put in we won't put in the gate because we only roughly know where that is, right? But we'll put in the planet and the station where the peacekeepers certainly were, but obviously this is decades ago. So let's put in a planet. And does anyone know if Stargazer can roll up the details randomly? Because it just seems to be able to input what you rolled up yourself, because I'm going to make you guys roll because I can't be asked. Did anyone use Stargazer? It's pretty good. I've never used it until now, and it looks way better than the sector map that I made using Keynote, which is no great surprise. Hey, Hidden Stone. Okie doke. So there is an Oracle tab. Let's see if I can look at it without calls and then save them to that hex. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, have I broken... Hey, Uncle George. Does this affect what I'm doing? Anyone know where the oracles are in Stargazer? This is a really professional stream, isn't it? Top right of the screen, 3 lines with a pencil next to them. Oh, hello. Wow. This is a whole new world. So, we're going to roll up a planet, right? So, we are in the Outlands, is what I said, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm getting it. I am a professional. Anyone got any... Cheers, Erin. Anyone got any ideas what kind of planet they would want? Or, well, hang on. Let's say this was a planet with like a valuable resource in it. So, does someone want to just pick? First person to put in what kind of planet this is, I'll let them choose. This is where I notice I've got like a big delay in the chat. Rocky planet. There we go. That's what we're going to have. We are going to have a rocky planet. So that's going to inform a little bit of what we're doing. Sorry, you missed out. Ice planet for water. Imagine that. Yeah. They're just mining for water, just slowly heating up the entire planet. Hey, that's what we're doing. And it's some valuable gem. Let the spice flow. Okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Ores and minerals. Ores for what? I'll accept ores, but what specifically were they using the ore for? You should use Stargazer. I'm discovering it with a lot of you new people. Like, this is amazing. Who made this, by the way? Was it Nick Boughton? Is that right? Nick Boughton? If anyone knows him, give him a slap on the back. This is great. Right, so we've got a rocky planet we're going to have, and we are going to call it Silex. That is what it's called. Pure black iron, Jonathan. Possibly. Black iron's pretty rare though. I would like this to be something that would possibly be, they wouldn't just send some peacekeepers to protect this if it was just if it was pure black iron. We did, yes, Sean, we did E-drives already, yeah. Yeah, we did that. It was the crystal on Rust is what they used to manufacture E-drives. God, I remember details about stuff that was from 2 years ago. Hi, Christina. Starship construction. Yeah, well, the thing is, we established, didn't we, that Clan Thorn were like building and consolidating their fleet, right? So... yeah, it's got to be something. So yeah, we're going to say it's a mining operation, a planet called Silex with a big mining operation. And we are... no, Kevin, material that crafted the lens. We haven't discovered that yet. But maybe soon. Yeah, so a planet called Silex where they have mining, and yeah, shielding, shield capacitors. Sean, you have absolutely nailed it, and it's like something really unique. Like it's the shielding around the gubbins of the actual shield generators on ships. This is a mineral that's like so like robust and so tough that it can survive kind of like heavy fire or kind of heavy trauma. So yeah, that's what we're going to say. So we have what else can we do here? It's got a toxic atmosphere. I've just learned that by pressing the button. So that's no good. Let's put a description in. So mining planet where MacGuffin resource is used for shielding technology. And we're leaning into Star Wars here, right? There's literally only one ecosystem on this planet, and that is it. It's just rocks and mines, and it's a pretty hard Scrabble world. But let's say settlements wise, there are no settlements. So let's just say that place is just that mining operation. That's all there is there. So it's a fairly small planet, I'd say. But it's probably the one place in this sector, and maybe in this kind of series of sectors, that you would find this resource. And as a result, and the fact that it's got a real toxic atmosphere means that, you know, people don't kind of perhaps stay there for very long. So they kind of go down in like kind of big shifts and kind of like have to be replaced with kind of incoming and outgoing crews and everything. So that is who Cole and their crew were evacuating. They were evacuating small crews from the mining operations themselves, whilst Clanthorne closed in and Blake Sutton was there causing trouble, because that's what we said that she was doing. She was disrupting that, wasn't she? So yeah. What have we got chat people saying? Maybe it's been abandoned. We don't know yet. We will find that out if we go near it, because again, decades have passed. Might be the moon of another planet. That's actually not a terrible idea, Jonathan. I'm going to say that I'm going to say this place has a moon, but that's where the people live. That's where the other shifts live, and they kind of come off and on. That's where that's like doesn't have a toxic atmosphere, and that's where they can stay. So you live on the moon for a bit. Imagine the moon. Imagine the moon being the best part of a planet. You live on the moon, and then they just go down and they kind of do what they need to do, and then they kind of come up when their kind of bodies have taken too much. So yeah, let's say it's got a moon where workers live. There we go. So no settlements. Okay, what does this place like? Oh, I do like something. Right, okay, so just to tell you all now, because I've seen like 2 or 3 mentions of Soulbinders here. We're not going to be getting into any Soulbinders business in this sector specifically, but that's not to say that they will not feature in this sector, because eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed in the last few episodes that I've been kind of teasing out little bits about the Soulbinders, and I feel like the twains shall meet, right, in this sector, possibly, maybe, who knows. But yeah, we are kind of moving towards the end of this season, and it would be remiss of me not to have some kind of dramatic kind of conclusion. So yeah, that could be something to happen. But in terms of like Soulbinder presence here, we're keeping it to 0. I hate to disappoint you because everyone likes those creepy fuckers. Right, okay. Observed from space. What does it look like? Jagged mountains. So, yeah. This kind of like grey, miserable, hard Scrabble world with these kind of ranges of jagged mountains kind of going across it like veins. And then I reckon that this place looks like there's not even anywhere flat or kind of like open to make any kind of any kind of like habitable space. It's all just rocks and spiky bits. It's basically a hedgehog planet, which is just really, really, really inhospitable. That's what I want to kind of get across here. I hope that's coming through. Should we have another? No, let's have a planet side feature. Massive dust dunes. Well, that flies in the face of what I just said. I'm rolling that again. Hang on. I'm getting rid of that one. So we'll go towering rocky spires. And that's what we'll have there. I think that makes nice. Is everyone getting kind of a good sense of what Silex is like as a place? Carlos says, interference caused by the presence of shielding minerals. I think that's an amazing idea. I think that, yeah, that's bang on. I think that, like, the minerals that is mined here, when there's something about the processing of it, like when the mineral gets heated up or whether it gets, like, hewn from the rock, it has this kind of peculiar resonance that disrupts, like, communications, or it disrupts some kind of energy, maybe. Yeah, Sean, this place, this sucks. I don't want to go here. And I think that, you know, when Cole looks at this on the map, he's going to be in absolutely no hurry to revisit this place again. But yeah, let's say that then. Let's add that little detail in. I like that, Carlos. Thank you. So minerals cause disruption. I'll type this out more nicely later. Damu is not. No, Damu is my I know I'm a little bit biased. It was the first place we started, but that is by far my favourite place we've been. I like a jungle. I liked making like spending 6 episodes just to make an Apocalypse Now joke. And it had those gorilla, crocodile, kangaroo things, which were great. They were my favourite thing I've ever rolled up, because it was awesome, and they were just like these horrible monsters, and then I rolled the thing that said they were radioactive, and I was just like, oh, okay, that is probably just about as bad as it gets. So, right, anyone, how do I save it onto a cell? Do I just press that save button? Again, I'm a professional. Don't try this at home, everybody. Nukaroos. That's a good name for them. A very good name for them. Hang on, let's change this. Yeah, I really don't know how to put this in. How do I put that in? This is thrilling to watch, everyone. First look. The book button to the left of the entries allows you to copy it to a clipboard. The book button to the left of the entries. Click the cell, then click the drop down, and it'll give you the option. Change cell status to location, then save. Okay, so I'll do that. Hello. Bang. Done. Silex is on the map, everybody. I feel like you went with me on a journey there. A journey through my own technical incompetence. And somehow I came out the other side, and I'm stunned. Absolutely stunned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, chat. If I have to ever do something complicated at work, or like a tax return, then I might go live for that, and then you guys can pitch in. Okay, so that's yeah, thank you. So that's the planet. So we should have the settlement nearby for the station where originally Cole's peacekeeping corps. That's a good question. Like, who's in charge of sending peacekeepers out? Like, is it some kind of terminus-based organization, kind of like the United Nations? Are we that organized in our world? Or was it more local government, did we think? Either way, I'm going to make a little settlement. We're going to make a settlement. And it's going to be deep space. It's going to be deep space. I don't see it as being that organised. I think local. I might agree with you there, Sean. I think a conglomerate of businesses. Would this person know if the peacekeepers still exist if this place is lawless? Mercenary company that evolved over time. These are all good ideas. I kind of, maybe that's just the fact that I always think of Cole as good guys. Well, he's leading a team of like genuinely good people. I don't feel like mercenaries feels right. Or like they're kind of like private security contractors that are just kind of like bobbing around. But I think that's how it could have started, right? Yeah, mercenary company that evolved over time. So it's maybe it was a kind of several interests in this sector when this was a peaceful place, or whether this was before it fell into what kind of to whatever misfortune it's fallen into. And let's say there was kind of like a whole bunch of no, mercenaries can't be good guys. That's the rules. I don't make them. Sorry. I see them as like Jedi, but without the Force. So just priests. Just weird, sexless, strange people, cult members. I also like the idea of being local. That way there are pockets of protected areas in the otherwise lawless sector. It's been decades, splintered from one of the clans because they were decent folks. Yeah, I think that maybe these were kind of like protection for hire, right? And maybe they were interests coming from lots of different people, which probably included clans, which included possibly organized crime, maybe business interests of people. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So it started as something like, there is no law here, we need to do something. And maybe it became so well funded that it kind of became much more professional, and it was, they're soldiers, right? They're not just kind of toughs that will turn up and kind of crack a few heads to get what they want. Like, they're professional soldiers, and maybe the interests that kind of like pulled their resources to build this organization, maybe there was an awful lot of money here, and people would travel to be part of this peacekeeping corps, because it would ultimately be seen as a well-paid job where you weren't kind of like cracking skulls. You were like genuinely doing a job that you could kind of look yourself in the mirror and kind of get a good night's sleep, not thinking about the fact that you'd done something distasteful or wrong. So yeah, these kind of peacekeeping mercenaries. Mercenaries, it just doesn't sound right, does it? Somewhere between mercenaries and Jedi. There's your scale of moral, of morality, Jedi to mercenary. The Foreign Legion of the Sector. Thank you. Someone just slap me around the head and the right idea will come out. The Foreign Legion of the sector. So I think that there's also an element of conscription in this. I think that you can be, hey Jen, yes, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you can be conscripted. You can be paid to kind of, you can join if you're kind of maybe looking to get out of a life of violence, working for the clans, or private security. So this is vigilantes, marshals for hire. I think we're going to go the Foreign Legion of the Outlands. That is exactly what we're doing. That is the kind of vibe we're going for. So their base of operations in this sector is a deep space outpost called. It's not called Dead Rock, because that would have been a perfect name for the last one. It's not called Sepulchre either, because that sounds familiar. Come on, I'm going to keep hitting these until a good one comes up. Maybe conscripts are the price for their service. Sounds good. We've had Paxton, we've had Full On, Prism. Next one it's going to be Paragon. There you go. That actually means something. They are paragons of virtue. Is that what they're called? Like paragons? Not peacekeepers? Is that on the nose? Is that on the nose? It feels like it's so on the nose. It could be a giant nose. Someone talk me out of this before I do it. We know that the call goes out. Vega, who's did I? All right, I've got a thumbs up from Jen. So that's happening. I'm going to pick here. We're going to say that at its height, it had a population of the thousands. And it was a deep space station that looked... It's the problem when you roll so many times and you go to so many places, you end up seeing these results quite a lot. I don't think many people make it out of... make it to as many settlements as I do. Rustic architecture, what does that mean? Aren't paragons the people with the powers? I mean, maybe, but not in. I don't remember. Did I? Can anyone confirm or deny that I said people with powers are paragons? Is that what they're called in the book? That sounds familiar now. If they are, I'm just going to hand wave it and say that they don't exist. Paragons are the people with the powers. I don't think that was in my truths. I think we had magic people, but I didn't call them paragons. I mean, it's been a while since I've listened to... I've not used it in the campaign, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we need a judge's ruling. We need to go upstairs and find out, what did I say? Your truth wasn't paragons. Excellent. I knew it. So this place is called Paragon. It's one of the truths. I don't know if this is campaign. Yeah, it's not. It is one of the truths. I remember. Yeah. So I've got magic people. I've got magic and science, two sides of the same coin. I'm glad someone's paying attention to my campaign. I can remember so little about. It was a heady time. I made 3 episodes in a week. It nearly killed me. Oh, it was Steve, was it? Okay, let's blame Steve. Blame Errant Adventures. So, I'm going to call this Paragon. It's kind of a number. Paragon 6. There we go. That sounds nice and sci-fi, doesn't it? Hey, Charles. Come on in. We're building a sector. We're not going to have initial contact. Authority is going to be... We don't know, do we? So this is just the place that it's called. We don't know anything more about it, but Cole and his crew will know that that's what it was called back then. So I'm going to put that quite near, but over here somewhere. Yeah, maybe over there somewhere. No, right on the edge. There we go. So location. I'm a professional at this now. I know all about this. There. Bang. Done. Paragon. Not professional enough so you can see the entire name of the place. But those are the breaks. You can't have everything with me. So those are the 3 places that I wanted to put in, right? So we can assume then, if you can see my cursor, that the Iron Gate is somewhere over here, which is convenient given that, you know, we are all the way over the other side of the sector. We're over here, right? So we've got all this space to explore, and I think I want to now start thinking about what happened to this sector since the clans lost control of it. Maybe we need to come up with a faction name that people just refer to as the Paragons. Paragons. Yeah, maybe. I think the organisation are called the Paragons, I'd say. That's what we're going to say. And there's a number of stations around the Forge called Paragon, and then a number. This is number 6. Whether people who work for them describe themselves as Paragons, we'll get into that. We'll leave the details as fuzzy at the moment. So, normally when you make a sector, right, you roll up a sector trouble. They're Paragon. Okay. Does anyone know if I can ban someone from YouTube chat because that was pretty bad, Steve. Yeah. I'm gonna roll up. I'm gonna ask you lot to. Who's got dice? Has anyone got dice? I mean, you can just make up a number if you want to. I'm gonna roll up like 3 different troubles, 3 different sector troubles, and we are the Paras. Oh man, we've got ourselves a bit of problem here, haven't we? Can't be the Paras. That's not right. Yeah, I'm going to have 3 separate sector troubles because I want there to be a lot going on here. Whether all 3 of them are actually still going or still a thing, but like they all definitely problems that we have had in the last few decades, and maybe we can roll up a few. Is that your PIN number, Shane, or could be a bank sort code? Yeah, we'll have these kind of competing troubles going on in the sector, and maybe it will help us kind of figure out a history of what's happened in the last kind of few decades. So let's find. I think I've actually got this because I'm a professional. Hang on, here we go. Right. You know, yeah. If you don't carry dice around, like, you know, how can you look yourself in the eye? Conveniently enough, I have the sector trouble oracles here. Stay strapped. I think a D4, even though it has the lowest damage output numerically, that would hurt the most if you stood on it. Whereas a D20 would actually be all right to step on. I would have thought, be fine. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but if you did, if I had to pick the one that I'd least like to stand on, it'd be the D20. D4, no. So, Order of the Infernal Swarm. That was the randomly. Caltrop dice. Oh, right, okay. You see, I heard people call them caltrops, but I thought they were just saying they were missaying cantrip because that's like a D&D thing, right? And the D4 has the highest damage output in real life. Yeah. Just don't stand on any dice. That's my advice. Okay, someone roll some dice, shoot me out a number. First one, I'm going to take it. The tension's unbearable. $36. Newly found resource lures greedy fortune hunters to the sector. Well, wow. So does that mean that there is a resource somewhere else? Stop it with your black holes, Carlos. Does that mean there's a resource somewhere else, or one wonders if Silex, that planet, suddenly became a lot more valuable for some reason? 37, that's the same result. So we'll keep that. Newly found resource lures greedy fortune hunters to the sector. So fortune hunters, I think I think this is something that the clans don't want. Christina says, yes, something even more valuable was found on Silex. There's an iron gate. I'm sick of iron gates. I can't have any more iron gates. You know, I don't want to be like Sam Jackson in the Snakes on a Plane, but I've had it with these iron gates in this forge. Something even more valuable was found on Silex. That's a good idea. Do you know what? I'm going to say that. I'm going to say... Yeah, so, yeah, Steve's correct. If the clan wars were heating up, they would need more shield generators, but the clans, I'm going to say, will run off Silex before they managed to take control of it. Okay. What if it's not a resource? What if it's... So, like, this needs, like, super specialized mining, kind of excavation, right? And everyone knows you can find this stuff there. But what if they kept digging and they found something incredibly rare? If they found something that is very dangerous, that maybe that's what the toxic atmosphere was all about. And what if on Silex, because they were mining it, this is where they found it for the first time, but it's prevalent in this sector, and there's other places that have it too, and that brought fortune hunters in their droves. A Balrog, well, I mean, if they dig too deep and too greedily, that's going to happen. You will, if you dig far enough, you will encounter a Balrog. That's just basic science. So what could it be? I don't want it to be any precursor nonsense. I don't want it to be black iron or anything like that. What kind of thing could they find? That's not a Balrog. Sean just rolled rare environment on the descriptor focus. Anyone want to take a crack at interpreting that? Into the toxic atmosphere. Someone did mention water earlier. What if that's the resource there's none of in this sector? Yeah, what if there's no water? And they kind of dig and they find these massive, on this toxic planet, they find these vast aquifers that kind of like soak up and this kind of sponge for water. I'm going to say it's water. I think they found water. And let's say that I think that Silex has almost like a core of water. And water is ridiculously easy. Well, stop it with you. You don't be too realistic here. Like I've never ever been one for details. Yeah, special type of water. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, what's that thing? I saw like an advert of like Zendaya advertising it. It was like God water or something. And it was pretty special. It was like £2 a bottle. Science, yes, exactly. Something can heal wounds faster. Like, yeah, they can manufacture water, right? And but this water is kind of like totally pure, and it's something that, like, maybe in the Forge in general, people drink this manufactured water that's come from somewhere that that is just kind of like made, and it's not good for you. And this is the purest source they've found, and I think that the sector is rife with it. I think there's loads of it everywhere, and that's what brought greedy fortune hunters to find it. So we are going to say in the Delphian Flux, sector, beer, water, ice. I'm going to say ice cores. Okay, so that is something we have established about the Delphian Flux. Right, another number, please, someone. The Forge is Flint, Michigan. Yeah, sadly. 2. Blockade prevents trade from other sectors. Okay. Who is the blockade? Okay, I've got 2 results here. So 2 is blockade prevents trade with other sectors. And 17 says criminal faction corrupts local authorities. So we're going to have all 3 of those. The only reason I didn't pick 52 Tamiro is because it was precursor stuff, and I've had quite enough precursor business, thank you. Let's just put these in. Criminal faction. Blockade. So blockade prevents. So we've got a Phantom Menace situation going on. Because who doesn't love a trade dispute? That's clearly rich pickings for science fiction. There we go. Okay, what are people saying to me? It explains why the sector lost contact and treasure hunters are going to get precious resources. It does. Clans that were forced to abandon the sector are blockading. Now, Kevin, you have hit. Oh, that's good. Kevin and Sean, take a bow. Multiple clans competing in blockading the sector. Yeah, okay. So the clans, as they are, so they lost control of all the planets and all the settlements, all the mining operations, all of anything that goes in and out of this sector. And all they can do is kind of stand by and stop it getting in or out, right? And that's why they, Archer and the others didn't run into any problems, because they came through the spine of Kronos is basically the blockade to the south, as it were. So here's a question then. If Purgatory, the deep space settlement that we're at now, is known for it's a black market. What's it black market in? And why do people need to come there to trade whatever that is? Criminal factions are fueling the conflict. So we're gonna make one of the factions up in a minute, and I think I do want a criminal syndicate to be part of this. Criminal organization of smugglers growing very rich and powerful as they smuggle the shield stuff out of into different black market on information. Charles, that is a great idea. So what we're saying is that Purgatory. So Purgatory is a place where you can find out how to break the blockades. Who'd have thought blockades would be so much fun? I know what George Lucas was on about now. It's a little wonder that the Phantom Menace wasn't very good. Healing supplies or AI. I wonder if someone's figured out an algorithm to run the blockades. I wonder if... And what if Purgatory is the only place that it can't be tracked? So people go to Purgatory to... No wonder that Astrolabe was so happy. I wonder whether the water that they found has some kind of medicinal properties. Yeah, so Purgatory, the deep space outpost, is a place where people can trade information, and that information is an AI generated route through the blockades. And I wonder whether the AI generation is kind of like triangulating all the communications between the ships and the blockades and the bases and stuff, mapping their patrols, and then you get your run, you get your blockade run, and you can download it, and then you just go, and you know you've got a decent chance. We already know the clans are not above biological warfare. That is true. That is true. They will come at you with some moss, some deadly moss. I think we've actually got quite a few Tales from the Drift contributors in the chat, haven't we? Can see a few. Steve, John Miller, Josh. Anyone else want to put their hands up? Claim to be a Tales from the Drift contributor. We need a badge or something, don't we? That's what we need. But yeah, there's a reason. I'm not sure if they're here, but this is Lee, isn't it? Lee's written a couple of bits. Yeah, you did one, Trev. A couple of bits. The Moss story. I've got 3 parts of it coming up, and 2 more parts. Yes, Hidden Stone. Hidden Stone was the first contributor to Tales from the Drift. New medical toke for riggers that makes you Sapien 2.0. Sean, yep. Charles, you got to do it. You've got to do it. Don't worry about it. Just submit it. I've only actually ever rejected one because it was just too weird. And like when I say too weird, it was about a guy fucking his computer. It was too dark, and it was just too detailed. And I went back to them, and they wrote something else, and I think that's coming up. So everyone should be encouraged to send them in. And I'm going to say this now. I actually have too many Tales from the Drift for this season, so I'm almost committed to a season 3 just to make sure I use up all these Tales from the Drift. Yeah, I've got lots. So yeah, and I've got, I think there's 8 people who've done multiple ones. I'm kind of really pleased that everyone actually kind of went for that, because I just opened it up because I was struggling one week. I just figured I'd write them every week, and I'm so glad that someone's taken that off me now. Yeah. Hang on, what are we doing? We're making a sector, aren't we? Sorry, I was getting a bit misty-eyed about my community being lovely. I can't do season 4. I can't do 4 seasons. If Archer survives season 3, I will be stunned. If he survives season 2, I'll be stunned. And also, Sundered Isles is coming out soon, and I used to play in a band that just did sea shanties. It's perfect. So I can have a different sea shanty starting every single episode. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how much fun that would be? Or not. It might be awful. Can you imagine? Right, what are we doing? So we're going to say that Purgatory is a trading point for algorithms to run blockades. What other details do we come up with? Blockading ships communicate their positions and headings through encrypted comms, and someone in Purgatory has an AI that decrypts or predicts them. Do you know what? I'm just going to copy and paste that because that's just way too good. That's come out very small. But I'll keep it. This is just my notes. It's fine. Yes, everyone submit Tale from the Drift. You will make me so happy. And also, I just love reading them. I love getting them. I love reading them. I did have someone got in contact and just submitted a piece of flash fiction that was absolutely nothing to do with Starforged or even sci-fi. It was about just like a guy who was in love with a woman who worked in like a 7-Eleven. And it started with a great line. It said she smelled like disappointment and cigarettes. I just thought that was a good opening line. Nothing to do with Starforged, but fair play. Thanks for submitting it anyway. They generally got the wrong end of the stick. What's happening? So I've got that in there from Hidden Stone. Then we have Peacekeepers are the ones keeping the clans out. Are the Peacekeepers the ones keeping the clans out of the sector, or are the criminal factions the one keeping them out to protect their enterprise and keep the Peacekeepers off their back? So I think one of the things that has happened is that those Peacekeepers are gone, right? Like the Paragons, or the Paragon now has no power or sway in this sector, and the clans used to rely on them, right? The clans needed the Paragons to keep things in order, so they're gone. So the clans are blockading, and whatever this criminal faction is holds sway. Now, if anyone can come up with a good enough reason to, like, how could this criminal organization outmuscle the clans or force them out of it? Red Hill Eagle says, what's going on here? I just bought Starforged today, just going through the rulebook. I know nothing. Well, welcome in, Red Hill Eagle. Everyone is very nice. I'm 40 episodes into a campaign now that's been running for the last 2 years. And my character, Archer Barlow, who is somehow not dead, has finally reached the second sector of the campaign. And we're doing a bit of a world building exercise, and we're rolling it up now. And you'll get to see, if you kind of tune in, you're going to get to see how it's done. We use a lot of prompts and a lot of random rolls to generate ideas. and generate details about things. I will show you. I will show you. Hang on, let me get it. So we use an app called Stargazer, and we've been building this sector. So if you can see, in the bottom left-hand corner, you've got a place called Purgatory. That's where my character is now. And we've just rolled up and talked in chat about what these two places are. And we made a mining planet called Silex. And we made a deep space station called Paragon 6. And yeah, we used the oracles to roll it up, and we just bash some ideas around, and we come up with some cool stuff. Because that's how it's done in Starforged. Have you played Ironsworn before? Red Hill Eagle. Have you played Ironsworn at all? Like the original one? Could the criminal organization be secreted amidst the clans, and they're pushing and pulling at the right moment to keep stasis in the sector? I think we need something. I think we need something stronger than that. Their localness gives them an advantage, possibly. Sean says it's a great series. It sure is. Red Hill. No, you haven't played Ironsworn. Okay. Did everyone start with Ironsworn in here? This is your first venture into RPGs ever. Oh, amazing. Incredible. And are you playing solo, or are you co-op, or with a group? Carlos says they're preventing creatures from the spine of Kronos to get to the clans. Apart from 5 hours of Red Dwarf and an hour crash course in D&D combat. Well, an hour is a crash course in D&D combat. I think I fought a rat for like 6 hours in D&D once. That's not true. I'm being flippant. I don't like D&D. I mean, if you do, fine. I think it's a really good thing that people play it, and yeah. But yeah, it's not for me. Andy hasn't played Ironsworn yet. Shane played Ironsworn first. So Joshua says, using the faction relationship oracles rolled, trades favors with. You've done a bit of solo Starforged. Hey Colin, afternoon. It's weird. I still don't really remember how I found out about Ironsworn. But when I did, I downloaded it and played it. And little treat for you guys, next week I've got a video where I keep getting asked by new players especially, like, how do you learn how to fail when you play Ironsworn? How do you get good at it? And as a master of failure myself, I decided to make a video about it. And to do so, I actually kind of went back and found in my notebook the original game of Ironsworn that I played. And I'm going to read that out because it's a fascinating look at like how hard I made it for myself. My character died in 40 minutes of play. And it's really interesting going back and looking at all the mistakes I made playing that game, and how I just allowed it to spin completely out of control, and how I wouldn't make any of those mistakes now. Always fail forward. That is correct. It's the old improv thing, isn't it? Yes, and it's no but in this situation. Charles says, if this is your first foray, I'd say jump in. The author of Ironsworn is really, really well written guy and offers lots of good advice. Starting play is the best way to learn. I would agree with that. I looked at the rules for ages and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then it was just, you just do it. You take that step, and then all of a sudden it becomes easy. You want to do a YouTube series, a complete RPG noob trying stuff on, go for it. Do it. Uncle George says, is this happening today? Is what happening today? I was discovering solo the hard way and stumbled upon Trevor DeVal, who introduced me to Ironsworn. Yeah, he's Me, Myself and Die. That's the name of the series. I've only ever seen the Ironsworn series of that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I mean, like, you can do the voices. I can't do the voices. You struggle to make time for yourself to play. It's always a problem. I've got a stack of games so big that I want to play. Hello from Serbia. Hi. That is 100% right, Kevin. Be forgiving to your character. Narrative damage is more fun than wounding them. That's right. This is the mistake I made the first time I played Ironsworn, and why I ended up dead pretty quick. Yeah. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Narrative complications over mechanical effects. I would always say do that. Sometimes it's obvious when you need to apply a mechanical effect, but a narrative complication is always more interesting. And avoid, as I think Christina said out there, learn how to fail without creating a death spiral. I call it the failure cascade. It's very easy to make a decision that puts you in a situation that you're got a very low chance of succeeding in, and then you end up failing, putting you in a position where you are then again have to make a decision or a role that you have got very low chance of succeeding in, and you just kind of spiral. Not everything is a role. Yeah, I think I really would love to go back to Ironsworn and play Ironsworn again, but I think that the rules of Starforged have come along so much that I would probably have to just sub out some of the moves for I'd probably play with the Starforged moves. I really want Sean to do a second edition of Ironsworn. I'm sure he's got an awful lot of other things to do. But I would love that. I would love that so much. So, where were we? So, the Purgatory is the place where you get stuff. What we were trying to figure out whether or not why the clans were being forced to stand off by this criminal organisation. I tell you what, let's roll up. Let's generate this faction, shall we? If anyone fancy doing that? Arvid says, playing Ironsworn now, but we're using lots of Starforged moves in addition to the ground rules. Yeah, that's fair. The exploration stuff from Starforged would be great to have in Ironsworn, gaining XP that way. Yep, sure. Ironsworn Reforged. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw Sean's thing on Twitter. He was devastated that there is no better title than Starforged. Ironsworn Reforged. It's weird, isn't it? Like I looked back because I decided to do this channel when I found out about Starforged, and I sent a tweet saying, as soon as this launches, I'm going to do an AP of this. But I went back and I looked at that tweet, and it was called Ironsworn Starforge, like without the D. I don't know at what point the D was added, but it's better, isn't it? And I think Starforge is a video game, I think. Right, let's roll up a faction, shall we? Let's try and figure out this criminal organization, this criminal syndicate, and then we will perhaps be able to kind of like work backwards from there. I think there's a set of Ironsworn adapted rules from Starforge on Discord. Yeah, there's a Discord channel. Is it called Starforging Ironsworn? Is that what it's called? I haven't really looked in there, but yeah. Yes, Sundered Isles is on the way out, and yes, I will be playing Sundered Isles. Again, I think it'll be. I'll do a short like 6 episode run of Sundered Isles. I think when it comes, probably. Who knows? If I ever finish this. Starforged was a Kickstarter mired in bad press, so Starforged got around the problem. Really? What was Starforge? Was it something else? Was it another role-playing game? What if the remnant tech from the clan war is still active and will register the ships made by the clans? Maybe. Okay. Okay, so I've got the faction oracle up. I haven't got it on my screen, so you're going to have to just trust me. So let's say this is the dominion of this sector. This is the governing power, and it's a criminal organization. Someone give me a number between 1 and 100. $39 or $53 or $71. 53, 71. So your options for the Dominion is, and I think that out of all those numbers, 2 things came up. One is industry, which was 53, and the other one, which was 39, was faith. Yes, Kevin. Joshua's artwork is amazing. Like, so good. I mean, I'm biased, but I think the best artwork is on page 239. For reasons, it seems innocuous at the start, but the more you look, the better that piece of artwork is. So this criminal organization, industry and faith. Yes, sure, we do have enough numbers. I just enjoy saying, give me a number, and then everyone just floods the chat with numbers. Faith and numbers. Now, I did want to avoid the soulbinders. Yes, Shane. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the bottom of that page, Shane, it's a great bit of artwork. Cheesemongers. Cheese can be godly. It can to some people, I guess. Now, I said earlier that I wanted to keep the soulbinders out of this, but we've just rolled faith and industry. Is there a possibility, and bear with me on this one, is there a possibility that the faction that's in control of this sector is some kind of offshoot or splinter group of the Soulbinders? Blessed are the cheesemakers, yep. Is that interesting? Perhaps faction capitalizing on people's beliefs. A heretical faction of... I mean, yeah. Maybe they just work with or for them. So here's the thing, right? There's the Soulbinders as they are this kind of like puritanical inquisition. And they're very powerful. They're really powerful. But we have established... I say we, I'm blaming you all for this. It's me, I did it. Faith is uncommon in this version of the Forge. It is. It's very uncommon. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for checking in whilst you've been supposedly working. That's the kind of work ethic the youth of today have. Everyone should check out Steve's show. It's called Errant Adventures. You can find it on all your favourite podcasting applications. It's the first Starforged AP that I listen to, and the standard is incredibly high. He's playing a different system at the moment, And he's amazing. So check him out if you haven't done so already. If you're new here or new to the community, then check out Errant Adventures. It's amazing. What we got? Pretend Soulbinders. A cult of necromancers. Would be cool if a faction had a fabricated messiah figure made from hyper technology they use for propaganda. Now we do have another faction in this that we have established called the Circle of... what do we call them? The Circle of something? And they had a kind of a heretical figure, didn't they? As their lead. They were just called the Circle, weren't they? That's right. The Soulbinders destroy the undead, and these guys seek to control the undead. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, I would want to move away from necromancy. I mean, the Circle of Daggers, it was something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. The Circle of Silent Daggers, that's right. Cheers, Trev. Thanks for stopping by. They bind the risen to do their bidding. Soulbinders Academy. I love that. So what interest would a faction, a splinter group of the Soulbinders have in this desolate sector? Control of the water, essentially. And how would they be so powerful? What if they put souls into machines, trying to make sentient machines? So I think that whoever is in charge here, faction tries to create control of Leviathans and send ships into the spine. Whoever is in control here, this faction has to have the resource that is prevalent here. That has to be what's driving them here. So why does this criminal subsect of the Soulbinders, what interest do they have in water other than just controlling it? What if the water's healing power is to break the holy water? What if this is space holy water? Oh man, what if... Cheers, Jane. I know it's late for people in Europe, but interestingly, 3/4 of my fan base, people who listen to the show. Cheers, Erin. Thank you. Most of the people who watch the show and subscribe are from the US. I don't know why that is. So yeah, that's why we're doing it late for Europeans. Holy space water, that's what we're going to go for. So the Soulbinders, here we go. Right, the cogs are spinning. The Soulbinders in my show, they're after the lens, right? The lens is a super weapon. We don't really know why they are after it, although I have dropped a few hints, and also I don't know. I do. Or do I? But anyway, they are looking for the lens for reasons. And what if that reason is there's a powerful weapon that they used to have that now they are no longer in control of. And the reason that they're no longer in control of it is because these guys have it. And when they splintered off, the Soulbinders went in search of the lens and this kind of super weapon to try and put down whatever they want to put down with that. And these people took not an equally powerful weapon, but a powerful device of some kind, and they have used that to essentially take control of this sector. And they've taken control of this sector so they can control the water that moves through the forge. What if water can keep memories? Like homeopathy, the memory of an onion. Water's got to have something. They need it for something. Water is the only thing that can keep you alive during the process of binding. That's pretty good. A probacteria-rich water that helps immunize people against sickness. I don't think they'd be that benevolent. I don't think they'd be into that. So I think there is a kind of a splinter group that has essentially taken control of this sector, having found out that a type of water was discovered on Silex, and they've moved in. And as a result, they have moved something incredibly powerful in that is able to keep the clans at bay. And the clans can't attack, they can't get in. So they just essentially stop the best they can anyone getting out of this sector. These are all good ideas. Unknown nanotechnology in the water that gets out of hand at an inconvenient point. Any point would be inconvenient for that to happen, I think. A sentient aquatic fungus that can be modified to be an organic supercomputer. So what do we think this weapon is that they have? The water contains a symbiote. Is the water just a MacGuffin? Could be. Space Holy Water. I mean, I still like Space Holy Water. What if this faction and the Soulbinders have got the same aim, right? Their aim is to purge the world or the forge of the threat of the risen, the kind of the undead. And the Soulbinders think they will. Oh man, hang on. Like we've basically got a. So if the Soulbinders are the space Spanish Inquisition, then whoever this is basically the space Henry VIII. Like we've seen a divergence of Christianity into Catholicism and Protestant. That's easy for me to say. Protestants, and you've got these two diverging belief systems that came from the same way, and they're both trying to do the same thing, and they think that they both have the solution. One is to find the lens, this ancient precursor super weapon that's powered by psychic energy, and the other ones are, they think the answer's in holy water. Could be a hoax. It could be a hoax. I mean, yeah. A sector-wide EMP, like the one in the palace ship. The waters act as a conduit for mysterious energies of the forge, while the lens concentrates the potencies of the energies. One's a shotgun, the other's a net. This is all good. This is all good. This is what we're saying. So we've got a splinter group of the Soulbinders. So should we ignore my initial thoughts about it being a criminal syndicate, or shall we have a criminal syndicate here as well? If we're going with Space Holy Water, then ice knives crafted from said water wielded by undead killing zealots. They got super soakers, and they just hose down zombies. There's an idea of a megastructure build around the sun that takes combined materials of planets. So if you could harvest huge quantities of water, you could have a tubular superstructure I think these guys are lunatics. I think that this splinter group of the Soulbinders, I think they've lost it. So I think that they're driven by this belief that the water is the answer. But it isn't. It really isn't. But they've got something that means that no one can stop them here. And I wonder. So the Soulbinders go around on like this big kind of temple ship, right? I described it as being like a kind of like a Baroque cathedral and a mosque kind of combined as a ship. With all these kind of like minarets and spires and domes and stuff coming off it. Well, what if that was their base? And what if these people have got the Soulbinders flagship, like this? Because there's not like millions of the Soulbinders. It's a smallish organization. But what if when they separated, one took the base and one took the flagship, and it's kind of like the Super Star Destroyer, but more terrifying somehow. And it has the power to distinguish between these crazies and the Soulbinders. We need to give them a different name. Yes, we do. We definitely do, and we will. Yeah, they've got this flagship that could probably one shot any of the clan stuff that comes in, or it's got some ability that means that they're gonna have to stand off it, or it'll take too much effort to bring it down. So the clans have really got no option other than to just kind of stand and watch. And this is it. I think that we've got this lunatic faction, the splinter group of the Soulbinders, who are trying to they're trying to obtain space holy water, and I think there's a criminal syndicate here as well, doing something using them as cover. Right, we've got lots of chats here. What's happening? Why is it holy, I wonder? Does it have any special properties at all, or something to do with its source? Did the Soulbinders originate here? I think the properties, I think it has a clarity to it. A clarity to it that is not found anywhere else in the Forge. What else we got? The lens used the water in its construction somehow. It has specific refractive properties that use the lens. The use of the lens relies upon. Now, I don't want to get too much into lens, because the lens is something that I know exactly how it works, that I haven't told anyone. I've left plenty of clues. And it goes all the way back to the start of the show. What if they could control and summon the energy creatures from the spine of Kronos? So the spine of Kronos, the Vault controlled all of those, and that's not there anymore. An osmosis world. Once it pierces atmosphere, sucks all the liquid out of the world, and if ever growing reservoir. Okay, the Water Bearers. Is that a suggestion for a name? Maybe the flagship has the ability to cast a no jump zone. Interesting. Sean rolled up the Pact of the Supreme Spectres. It's very alliterative. I like that. Supreme Spectres. That sounds... I like Spectres. I like Pact. Someone else want to do something with that? Pact. What about just the Pact? The Pact? Anyone object to the Pact? And Josh says, yeah, so you can get in, but you can't leave. That's pretty good. And what if... That's actually incredibly good. Because there's only one way you can get into this sector without anyone knowing about it, and that's through the spine of Kronos. And no one's done that. Except... Archer. who was solely responsible somehow. I'm just going to call these guys the Pact. I'm just going to call these guys the Pact. I like it when things are brief. The Pact. He packed. Pact. Talk amongst yourselves. Now, inadvertently, and this is how this game goes for me, right? So, inadvertently, you find the correct answer. So, Joshua, fantastic, great idea. Once you get into this sector, you can't get out. And I don't know if you remember, but when the Soulbinders first turned up, they kind of EMP'd everything in the area. They EMP'd Sepulchre, all the ships, everything, and everything just kind of hung in the air. Cheers, Joshua. Thank you very much, everyone. Kind of wave goodbye to Joshua Meehan, the genius artist behind all the work in Starforged. Thank you so much. And a lot of your ideas are going to make it in this. So, the original Soulbinders ship turned up and they EMP'd the shit out of everyone, and they couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't fly anywhere. And what if this flagship has the same power but worse? They can shut down a whole sector. And the thing is, we've just entered through an incredibly unlikely entry point. We've crossed the spine of Kronos, a stretch of wild space that no one thought was possible. Now, how are we going to get out, right? If we can't, if the Pact's ship can shut down anyone trying to jump out, well, lucky there's an iron gate here. And I'm going to just go out on a limb and say I think we're the only ones who know where it is. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That's it. So we have entered, and there's only one way out, unless we want to cross the spine of Kronos again. And whilst the vault controlled all those kind of chaotic energies, it's probably not great. So we came through a minefield to get here. Okay. What is stopping the Pact from controlling other sectors? They want water. They don't have enough. They don't have enough flagships to control other sectors. They're just here, and they think the water is the answer. Why did the pacifiers stay in this sector? The Paragon. The location of the only gate in the sector would be extremely valuable information. You're not wrong, Sean. You are not wrong. The Paragons are no longer here. I mean, whether they're scattered to the wind or not, I don't know. But essentially, the sector that Cole and the Paragons left accidentally when they got stuck through the gate is very different now. Someone said something about between the blockade, Kevin, between blockade and the zealots, the sector is ripe for criminal enterprise. Absolutely. The water could have something dissolved in it that absorbs radio waves and turns it into heat, thus shielding ships with coats of holy water flasks. I like how ludicrous that sounds, and I think that whatever reason the Pact have for wanting it, I think it has to be as as ludicrous. Kevin says, also need to log off. Matt, thanks so much for doing this. Great brainstorming, chatting with the boss. Yeah, yes, it is. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. The Paragon didn't intentionally stay in the sector. Yeah, correct. There must be a way to get to the rest of the crew through the Iron Gate, I guess. Yeah, to remind people of why we're here and why Archer and Luna have diverted from their main quest and why they are flying through space with 4 terrified ex-peacekeepers who have experienced some severe time dilation. Is that right word? Dilation, time distortion, and we're flying with a hold full of dinosaurs, is because Archer rescued Cole and his crew from a lush, verdant world where they had everything they needed. They had plentiful food. They had shelter. There were electric dinosaurs, which wasn't ideal. And every single thing on the planet kind of wanted to kill them. And yeah, Archer activated the gate and got them out. And it's his current vow is to return them to their thing. And to be honest, I'm more worried about the Drakes than I am about Cole and his crew currently. Arc Dragons, yes, that's what we called them. Electric dinosaurs. They were pretty good. Maybe it's like tritium water or something, emits some sort of special energy or particle. I think they think it does. Whether it does or not, I don't know. But when's that ever stopped the pious trying that? Okay, criminal organisation. This is going to be the last thing I do. I'm not going to keep everyone for a long time. This has been really fun, really helpful. And I'm going to kind of work all this into the next episode, or the next few episodes. Give me a number, and we'll figure out this criminal syndicate. Yeah, true. It's a MacGuffin. We don't really need to have a great reason that people want it. 18. A criminal organisation of courtesans. Anyone? I mean, oh man, that. What if there was a criminal organisation that was formed entirely? Because we looked at the Courtesans Guild is what's come up here. And what if we get a bit creative with that interpretation of courtesans, and what if we make it kind of like emissaries, and what if they went bad? Is that a terrible idea? What are my other options? What else do we roll? 87. I don't know what those words mean. Bene Gesserit. What's that? Oh, it's from June, isn't it? That's right. I'm down with sci-fi. I've seen some of that film. No, I've seen all of that. I've seen some of the David Lynch one. Lobbyists definitely explain how they're able to turn sides against one another. Sean, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that June. Yeah, thank you. what I'm going to say is yeah, they are courtesans. And what I'm going to say is that the courtesan part of that means it's an all non-male cabal of emissaries and diplomats who figured out that the way to really get what they want is to control everybody. So yeah, when diplomats go dark, oh, that's good, isn't it? That's very good. And they get other gangs and scabs to fight for them. Yeah, like they never get their hands dirty, right? They're kind of like they exist in that kind of the relationship of like the birds that kind of perch on the backs of the rhinos and kind of just kind of ride along and stay out of danger and use their ride to get whatever they need. So yeah, I don't know what that is. Bennett, can someone, is that what that is? Because if it is, I'll change it. Bene Gesserit. She had a box and he put his hand in it. Is that right? Is that them? I don't like. I've seen June. It was fine. Like it was. In fact, it was better than fine. It was good, but like, I don't really know anything about it. Because if that's too similar, I'll chop that. But in the meantime, can someone give me another roll, please? $65. So, 65, and who else haven't I had? 52. I haven't read June. No, I haven't read June, and I'm not going to. So don't start with me. 65 and 52. We're going to go for. So I'm looking at the faction project. 65 says to put down an internal revolt or rebellion. So I think that's what they've got going on. They've got an internal power struggle. And the other one was we have 84. Seize a powerful artifact or valuable treasure. Maybe they've got designs on the water themselves. I think that maybe that's it. But that might come into it. So, okay. Let's reflect on what we've learned so far. So the Delphian Flux has fortune hunters searching for water in this sector, which are kind of ice cores at the center of planets. There's a criminal faction that are corrupting local authorities, and there's a blockade that prevents trade. Purgatory is a trading point for algorithms that help people who want to escape run blockades. And there is a controlling faction here called the Pact, who are a splinter group of the Soulbinders, and they are searching for holy water. They have control of a powerful flagship which allows them to control who and what enters the sector. And there's a criminal organisation comprised of ex-diplomats who have an internal power struggle who are also here. Sean, thank you very much for your input. Very, 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 very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And good night. I think that's plenty to go on. And I think that's... I mean, do we want more planets here or do we not? Like, do we actually need any more? It has been fun. Yeah, thank you. I might do this again. Like, yeah, and I'll be honest, like when I decided quite early on that when I would move to a new sector, I would do a live stream, and it's only really a matter of having the tech to get it, and the tiny text. I won't forget that tiny text, but I will look at it when it's a bit easier for me to do so. Yeah, that's been great fun. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming to kind of hang out with me and throw some ideas around and roll some numbers. Have I updated the first sector map? No, but I will. Now I know how to use Stargazer, I will update that sector map, and I will show it off in an episode so you can see it. And that's my homework from you for the week. So yeah, like, if anyone has anything else to drop in about this sector, any ideas, no matter how stupid, drop them in, and I'll look them over. Because I think I've got plenty to go on here, and I think that this is going to be a really, really, really cool place to play around. And also, it's going to be pretty difficult to get to that Iron Gate. I think what we're going to do is I won't have to undertake a journey because we've got a lot of the passages mapped already. You want me to roll up a star? Sure, let's roll up a star. Should we do that? Okay, so we're going to roll up a star. Let's do that because I have had it demanded of me. And we're going to slap this like right in the middle, right? So we're going to stick it over here. So what is it? Space. Stellar object. Everyone ready for this? A smouldering red star. So that's what we have. That's what we've got in the middle. A smouldering red star. And that is going to be... That's going to have some importance, I think. So, everyone, thank you so much for spending the last couple of hours talking absolute nonsense with me and helping me come up with this imaginary world. Your support is always appreciated, and I honestly couldn't do it without you. I would just be talking to myself on the internet to no one. And I'm really, really pleased and kind of humbled by the fact that other people actually enjoy watching this and listening to this and have kind of this investment in it. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. And I will bid you all farewell and safe passage.